Guys, welcome. It's me with a microphone here. Welcome to an idea that I got from Facebook about 3 months ago and I haven't done anything with until right now. 10 albums in 10 days. This is going to be a list of albums that aren't necessarily my favorite albums of all time, but I've got a deeper connection to them for one reason or another, reasons we'll get into during the video. I've laid out some guidelines, a set of rules that the albums need to follow in order to make it onto the list. Rule 1 is I have to like every track on the album. If there's even one song that I remove from the playlist, you cannot be on the list, boy. Rule 2 is the album has to have a personal meaning to me and to my development as a human baby boy. And finally, rule 3 is any bonus tracks, special edition tracks, or side B songs, they don't count. Now, while this list is in no particular order, we will be starting with the genesis of my metalhead days and ending with what I think is the most important album to me in my life currently. Let's get started by going back to a 13 or 14-year-old boy named Lee, a listener of bands like Busted, Backstreet Boys, maybe even a little bit of Spice Girls, and a smidgen of Eminem's more commercial stuff. He was obsessed with Last Ketchup song, even though he hates ketchup. He mimed along to Britney Spears and really couldn't get enough of All Rise from Blue, which, side note, was the first cassette that I ever got for my Walkman, and that's a humble brag. Now, you may be thinking, Lee, where on earth is this pop-obsessed tangent going? Well, I'm glad you asked, because as you can see from the title of this video, this list begins with Slipknot. Yep, just like my venture into the metal world, this 10 albums in 10 days list begins with Slipknot. Specifically, Vol.3, the Subliminal Verses. Strictly speaking, this album wasn't my first Slipknot album. That credit goes to Iowa, followed up by the self-titled Slipknot album, which a friend suggested to me from school, who then burned it onto a CD. Isn't he a nice lad? My life was flipped upside down when I heard songs like Wait and Bleed, Left Behind, Surfacing, My Plague. Slipknot's look both terrified me and intrigued me beyond belief. I heard rumors at the time that Corey Taylor's mask was sewn to his face, which is fucking disgusting, and yet fair play if it was. Seeing hate on Mick Thompson's guitar, a guitar that is nasty beyond all recognition. I mean, it's beautiful. I actually became so obsessed with the design of his guitar that I recreated it in CAD-CAM to the point where it impressed my teacher so much that he printed it off and displayed it on the wall of the classroom. Everything about Slipknot was the complete opposite of what I had been brought up on to that point. And oh my god, it's exactly what I needed in my life. And then Duality was released, and fuck me dead. I love that song. The video made me wish that I had been in that grungy house, falling through ceilings, taking a spike to the eye from the spike-headed dude, watching a clown take a baseball bat to a beer keg. The guitar squeals during the main riff. I'm fairly certain it was the first experience I'd ever had with a pinch harmonic. I vividly recall Googling how to make guitar scream and seeing a video of Mick Thompson describing how to do a pinch harmonic. When Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses, was released, I asked my mum to go and buy it for me because it had an age restriction on it for some reason. She was reluctant, obviously, but after a quick shop around Sainsbury's, she came home with this disgusting yet beautiful piece of artwork on the front of a CD case. I tentatively placed the CD into my CD Walkman because I had upgraded then. Humble. Skipped a few songs straight to Duality and played it on repeat for like a week. I may be misremembering the order here, but I'm fairly certain that later they released a music video for Vermilion, and oh my god, Vermilion is my favorite song by Slipknot, bar none. It is so goddamn powerful and heavy at the same time. So I played it on repeat for a week. I'm pretty sure Before I Forget came out after that. I didn't do any research for this video. And yeah, it's pretty good. You know, it's fine. It's probably my least favorite song on the album, but I never deleted it, so it still counts. The music video had me believing that they were getting rid of their masks, which made me kind of upset because I thought, or while I was worried that they would become just another band, and the song itself didn't really have the same energy for me as their other songs did. But nonetheless, I had it on repeat for a week. It wasn't really until a trip to Wales when I started to explore the album as a whole. I think it was around the same time that I started seeing the Pulse of the Maggots and the Vermilion Part 2 music videos, which we'll get to later. And holy Christ, the songs on the album are better than the singles. The opener 3.0, which at the time was the first song that I had seen a number in the song title, and I remember thinking, ooh, that's pretty cool, that's a nifty idea. How it builds and leads to the aptly named The Blister Exists, which definitely gave me blisters trying to learn it on guitar before I knew anything else, or even what tuning was. I went from getting a guitar to buying the Vol.3 Subliminal versus Guitar tab book without knowing how to read tabs or how to read sheet music, to trying to play The Blister Exists in standard tuning because I figured, every song is in the same tuning. After that, 3-0 became quickly my favorite song on the album, Vermilion aside. So I played that on repeat for a week. Duality we've already discussed. Opium of the People is there too, but nothing really grabs me about that song. If it comes on shuffle, I'll listen to it, but apart from that, it's there. Circle taught me that heavy bands can also have slow, calm songs, but still be fucking kick-ass. The drum outro gets me excited every single time. Before I could play guitar, I thought I could play the drums, despite not being able to use the kick pedal whilst simultaneously using my hands. And those drums at the end are the first thing that I learned. The song Welcome, again, is kind of just there for me. It's not one of my favorites, but again, if it comes on, I'll listen to it. That is fucking Vermilion! After which we get the driving Pulse of the Maggots, which seeing live was just... Ooh. Side note, Slipknot were the first band I ever saw live, ever. Not even busted. And they were supported by this little band that you may have heard of. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. I think they were called Slayer. I don't know. Perhaps they're a local indie band from Wales. I was asked whilst I was waiting in the queue by the stereotypical angry metalhead. This 7-foot massive bold dude just came up to us, our little group, and said, "Who the fuck are you here to see? Slipknot or Slayer?" I didn't know about the concept of support bands at the time, so I thought either he's confused or we were in the wrong place. So when I tentatively just said, Slipknot? He got really mad and he yelled at me just going, "Slayer!" I accidentally sat on a woman's head in that concert. Anyway, the percussion in the middle section of Maggots was awesome to see live. When the clown and the Pinocchio dude come out with snares on their chests. Oh, beautiful. Then, Before I Forget, which we've already talked about, followed by Vermilion Part 2, which is pretty good. It was the first time I discovered that you could have 2 songs on the same album with the same name, but then just put a Part 2 at the end of it. And I thought that was kind of cool. I think it complements Part 1 without being necessary, if that makes any sense. But the music video can fuck off. Far too creepy. The Nameless is a pretty badass song. I particularly like the calm versions of the chorus in that. That was interesting for my developing metalhead brain, for sure. Then comes what I consider to be the holy duo of songs with The Virus of Life and Danger Keep Away. Fuck Me Dead. I love those songs so much. At the time, I hadn't really experienced anything like them. I found Virus to be unconventionally heavy. Although there are guitars in it, I didn't find them to be the overall driving force of the song, and the distorted vocals in that were so cool to my developing brain. And then following that up with the finale of Danger Keep Away, where the clean vocals from Corey just blew my mind. What a way to end an album with those two songs. And overall, a stark and mind-boggling transition from the pop world into the world of Slipknot. 16 years on, I still love this album. And funnily enough, even though I've been playing guitar for almost as long, about 14-ish years, 14, 15 years, I haven't learned a single song from that album. I think my least favourite songs on the album are Opium for the People, Welcome, and Before I Forget. But it doesn't mean that I don't like them. They're just not as good as the other songs that are on that album. And that's all I have to say about Volume 3, Subliminal Verses by the old Slipknot. Let me know what you think of this album in the comments down below. We'll have a discussion. Check back tomorrow for the second album on my 10 albums in 10 days list, of which there is a playlist on the screen now, as well as a video that YouTube thinks that you should watch. It's the thing that it wants to recommend to you the most. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and stay safe, and please try not to push your fingers into your eyes.